we hadn't reached a point in our evolution to where we can handle the nature of what to do with fire.
Regard, and he was there when they were making these programmable generated life forms. He biologically altered.
Straight away, I'm not going to be talking that fast, but I just want to start off right from the beginning. I'm going to ask you all a question. So basically, I'm not going to talk about anything esoteric. I'm going to use references from the Bible, but they're just references. So we were told the saying in the Bible is basically there was darkness and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. What had to have happened before light manifested? What was the very first process in that sequence? So there was darkness, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light.
First there was the word.
Pardon?
First there was the word, wasn't there, before the light?
Yes, something happened before the manifestation of light. What was that thing?
The word.
Yes, the word was there, the sound was there, but what was the very first thing that had to have happened?
Thought.
Bingo. Thought. Now, I'm going to tie that into something that, because I'm a Christian, that I was raised as a Christian. What we did, it's a ritual that we do, and I'm going to tie that in. So the first thing is thought. Now, most people are consciously dismissive of the irrelevance of certain things, and especially of thought. We're not aware consciously of how powerful it is. We hear it, we accept it, but when we walk away from that conversation, it's gone. Your mind is just drifting down wherever avenue it's going. So that said, I want to move on to the next stage. The next stage is this. We as beings have predominantly 5 senses that we use. Okay? And what I want you to do for the moment is just imagine there was someone stood next to me that didn't have use of them 5 senses, so they had no sight, hearing, taste, touch, or sense of smell. How would they, without using any clairvoyance or telepathy, communicate and interact with their environment? How would it happen? So if they were stood right here and they wanted to interact with us, but they didn't have any of their 5 senses, how are they going to do it?
Intuition.
Well, they can use their intuition, but how are they going to communicate with us and their environment? Well, thought is there, but what I'm predominantly looking at, focusing on, is the aspects of each sense. So basically the answer is they're not going to be able to. Now, if this person was all of a sudden, you gave them sight, that would have a profound impact. All of a sudden they're going to see all these things. And next minute you introduce hearing, and then it's going to change it altogether. So through using this metaphor, I want to bring the understanding of how important these things are to us, and if we haven't all, how grateful we should be. Okay, because as we go along, you'll understand why they're so important. So the next thing I want to touch on is, okay, let's blend the two together. So as a Christian, we are taught to bless ourselves. Okay, so the first thing we do is we touch the forehead and we say, "In the name of the Father." Then we go to the Son, and then the Holy Spirit, and it's Amen. But it was only a short while ago when I was doing my blessing and I was thinking about the stuff that I work with, and it just came to me. See, when we say "in the name of the Father," what activities happens in this area of the body? It's thought. Then when we move from the Father to the Son, the solar plexus, this activity here is the action center, the emotional center. But by moving from one to the other, we have to compass the heart. And then on the crossing of the Holy Spirit is the X marks the hearts, or as in the case of the sacred heart. And then the Amen is in front of the heart. So what it's actually telling us, without telling us, is thought and your emotion produce the feeling. And if anyone's aware of Greg Braden's work, the feeling is the language of the universe. Okay? So if you've ever seen his documentary or read his book, The Divine Matrix, he will explain all that in there. So when we... next thing I want to talk about is beliefs, belief systems. So as we grow up, we're told things as a child, this is wrong, that is right, you're naughty, X, Y, and Z. And we take that on, up until about the age of 7 or 8, we take that on blind faith because we're not able to differentiate, we're not able to reason, is that right, is that wrong? We just accept. And obviously they're bigger than us and they must be right. So as we start growing, we take on perceptions based on our beliefs, and these things hamper us in our own development, whether it's a spiritual or whether it's whatever field it is, it hampers our belief system. And I'm going to touch a little bit on that and how we can change that shortly. The next thing, anyone familiar with Bob Proctor? No? Yes? Okay. Well, he drew a diagram which I saw in his video, You Were Born Rich, which was amazing. So basically, he has, on the left hand side we're going to call this knowledge, and on this side here we're going to call it ignorance. Now, knowledge is the title, but underneath it you have the word understanding, and underneath this you have the word faith, and under that you have well-being. Now when we look at ignorance, underneath this we have doubt and worry, under this we have fear, anxiety, and then disease. Now from my background, where I came from and what led me down this path, I came from a state of fear, anxiety and anger, and a lot of it, all three, for almost 2 years. And it was my father passed away and other circumstances happened at the same time, so even though it was a tragic part of my life, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Right, so here we go. So we got the knowledge, understanding, faith and well-being, but this is the side I want to talk about: ignorance, worry and doubt, fear, anxiety and disease. Now when everyone here has had some form of stress or had some form of fear, and as Joe Mashara says, the abbreviation of fear is a fantasized event appearing real. And I've also heard false evidence appearing real, but fantasized events appearing real fits because you are fantasizing a scenario based on information that you're taking in, and it's untrue. I'll tell you why. It's like, for instance, how many times something has happened, you're either on a project, you're on a job, and time is running out, and you go, if I don't do this, that could happen, or that's going to happen, and this could happen, and that's going to happen. They're not going to be happy. So you're making up this scenario based on this information that you have here, that I'm behind on time, or it's not up to scratch. So you create this scenario and you live in this fear, and this ties in with the law of attraction. You'll bring to you what it is that you're focusing on. Now, I've used this many times. I've been in a position where fear raised its head, but I've changed what I've focused on, and what I focused on happened. And then I tested it with another example of where fear could come in, and I've dwelled on it and the thing happened. So it's the same thing. The energy is the same. It's just like, for instance, we have a left and we have a right, but the energy of both is the same thing. It's where you put your focus on. It's like good or bad. They're the same thing. If it occupies space and energy, it's the same thing. It's just where you put your focus on. Now, with beliefs. Okay, so with beliefs, what I did was to analyze some of the beliefs that I used to have. For instance, like if we take an example of money, rich people are evil, for instance, or money doesn't grow on trees, or who do you think I am, Rockefeller, or do you think I own the Bank of England? So when I looked at these sayings, and particular ones that I was told, for instance, money doesn't grow on trees. Well, when you sit down and think about it, well, money does not grow on trees. Yeah, it comes from a byproduct, paper, but it does not grow on trees. So automatically I was able to see and understand. Another thing that I want to bring forward, is the energy of words. This is where we're going to, these will tie in here. So with regards to energy of words, I'm going to give you 2 words and then we're going to come back to this. The words please and thank you. So when I was sitting there and I was thinking about the words please, and I kept repeating it over and over again to feel the energy of the word, and after a while I came to this conclusion that even though we use it as a mannerism, it's borderline between a negative and a positive. Where if the word thank you, and these are things that you should try when you get home, just sit down and go over certain words, and you'll feel for the energy, what you feel from the word. Now the word thank you was completely different, and that's why, especially in law of attraction, they tell you to be grateful. Gratitude is key, because when you say the word thank you with regards to please, see when I say the word please, and I can feel the absence of something that I'm saying please to. But when I say thank you to something, it's already there. It's already gotten. Yeah. So how this ties in with your beliefs. So when you're feeling for the words, the energy of these words, you will feel what I do, and people that I work with, the same thing. They can feel the essence of the word and they change it, because we can change words in our vocabulary to empower us, because we've got plenty of words that will disempower us. Now, with all the speakers that have come here today and given their talks, I've enjoyed every single one of them, and they all are valid. They're coming from different perspectives, and it's talking about the I, the us, the me, the collective we, the all individual that has to make their decisions, their choices and their actions in life, but contribute as a whole. Now, I'm trying to get as much in here as possible here. Okay. So what I would like you to bear in mind is this. Let me just recap. First thing, thought. Thought is paramount. You name anything man-made on this planet that was not thought first. You will not find anything. Anything that happens had to be thought first before it manifested. So that's one way of validating why thought is primary in all creation. Because even when you read the Old Testament and God said this, well, to say something you had to think it. And then in the blessing it confirms it in the name of the Father, the thought, the Son, the emotional action, and the Holy Spirit, the language of the universe, the creation, the feeling, the thing done. So, thought is primary. Then we have our 5 senses. And why is that important? Because, as many people say, especially the speakers here today, is we have to guard, especially what Christopher said, we have to guard ourselves against outside influences. We have TV, we're bombarded with social media. I mean, smartphones, fantastic tools, and they're great tools, but that's all they are, tools. And we have computers, we have the news, we have newspapers, and so on and so forth. We have all this information bombarding us 24/7. But where is your safety zone? Where is it where you have this buffer where this is not interfering with you? I mean, I have many friends, and all I had, because I don't watch TV, I stopped watching TV a few years ago, and they're telling me what's happening in the news, oh, this is going on, and that's going on. And I just step back and I say, well, what are you doing for yourself? And they look at me puzzled, what do you mean? I said, well, what time are you using for your self-development, yourself? And they think that's alien. They said, what do you mean? I'm just plod along and go to work and I do this and I come home and I do this and I do that, and the next day and I'll go keep going over this thing. I say, yeah, fair enough, that's fine, that's where you want to go, and you're not ready for where the next step. And that's another thing you become aware of once you start, is it enlightenment? When you become more aware. So, thought, basically your senses relay, what do? They relay external information to you so you can make decisions and you can make decisions, or whether it's just information for learning, so you learn a process for a future career or so on, but it relays external information to us through our five senses. Now, the order in which things happen, and this is why one conversation, two different sets of people, males and females, and I've observed this many times. So you could have two guys talking. Oh, John, did you hear about Bert? And he'll say, oh yeah, it was a shame, wasn't it, what happened to him? He was a nice guy, it shouldn't have happened to him. Fine. But you see two women talking about, oh, did you hear what happened to Sheila? And, oh yes, wasn't that a shame? Now that here tells you everything, because man predominantly is of mind, and male is of mind, and women are of heart. There's different communications. That's why I've witnessed many times the partner talks to you, you're not listening to me, and he's saying, of course I'm listening to you, I heard every word you said to me, and I could regurgitate it, I could say it back to you verbatim. She said, but no, you're not listening to me, and he doesn't understand what she's saying, and she doesn't understand what he's saying, because they're communicating from different levels. So I started practicing this, and it makes so much sense to me, because when I was growing up, I was taught, if you fell over and grazed your knee, what are you crying for? Men don't cry. Okay, men don't cry. And then you're always given, as a boy, a gun, a car, some sort of mechanical, robot or something. So it's always logical, and it was more against the aggressive side. You be a cowboy, I'll be an Indian, or we'll swap vice versa. No, I shot you, you shot me. But if you look at the women, they're nurtured differently. They're given dolls, they're given playhouses, tea sets, and it's always a nurturing side. And I've seen that happen. So the two sides are being developed differently. Now, why is that important? Because the one engages the heart, and the other is mind and aggression. It's not bringing in the heart. And that's what I experienced growing up with the friends that I was with and the games we played. So how does this all tie in? Okay, I would have loved to give you the full explanation, but it doesn't matter. Bear in mind, you have your mind, you do your own thinking, because if you give that up to others, believe me, they'll do your thinking for you. And I was going to bring a set of cards today, and I wished I had, because I could have showed you a trick where you would have believed that you had all the decisions in that trick, but you had none whatsoever. I was doing all the decision making. So, your thoughts are your own thoughts. Guard them well, because my background, my reading is, I started off with The Secret. I don't even know how I came across it. It just happened to be there when I needed it, and that was the catalyst. But eventually, something inside me told me to stop reading the new books and go to the old books. I hadn't had a clue what old book I was going to. In the end, I was going to Thomas Troward, Prentice Mulford, Charles Hannell, the old books. And Thomas Troward is my mentor. Most people, if anyone's come across his works, the Edinburgh Lectures, I would not start with that book. It's too deep. If you want anything to do with the law of attraction, go to the secret.tv website. They have a reading list, beginners, intermediate and advanced. The books are all there, and I would follow that path, because if you try and jump into the advanced stuff, you're just going to give up straight away. The other thing that I will say to you is this: everyone's path and everyone's level are different. You are only ready for what you're ready for, and you won't be able to get anything else other than that. I'll give you an example. In my own personal experience, I have many friends that are very wealthy, and I'll say to them, what do you do with regards to wealth management, asset protection? And they say to me, they say, Ash, why do you want to know that? They says, why do you want to know how to protect wealth when the wealth you're talking about you don't have? I said, but I'm curious. They says, well, you should be curious about how to get from where you are to the next step. And when you get to the next step, you'll be taught something there. And when you're at this step, you'll move further on, and then you'll be taught something there. You don't need to know what a billionaire does to protect his assets, whether he wraps them up in common law trust, whether he has them in specific states in the US wrapped up as a corporation, as a fictitious entity. So they're protecting their assets. He says, you don't need to know that. You start from the beginning and you make your progress. That will come to you as you go along. That's what I'm talking about. Don't jump for the deep stuff, because it may just turn you away from it. Start simple, make your progression. As you become more aware. When Christopher was doing the lines, the I am, you know, I felt that. It resonated with me so much, because in me, I always ask my friends, I say, if you notice a change that you dislike, let me know. And they say, why? I say, just let me know. If you see anything that you dislike about my character, let me know. And they say, well, what do you mean? I say, if I come across as seeming arrogant, you have to let me know. They say, but you never do that. I say, I know that. I don't intend to do that, but if it does, let me know. And the reason being, this I am is within you. It's that line meant everything. When he drew that line, I knew what he was talking about. It's you can stand up straight and you know your own truth, and no one can say anything. No one can say anything and make you bow. You are the I am. It's you. You know, the internal you knows. That's what he was talking about, and that's what resonated with me when I saw what he did. Right, so to come back to this, from here, your own thinking has to be done. You do your own thinking. The second thing is, be aware of your senses. Your senses will bring to you information. Now, I have gone around, especially Birmingham, and I've seen adverts, we will beat cancer. And I've seen them pop up here and there. And I'm clicking on them, and I'm saying, why are they bringing these into why are they here? Why are they doing this? Because I know it's a subliminal message, because once I was driving up the road, and there was a park and there was a wall, and it says kill your speed, but when I was driving, all I saw was the word kill, and I drew my attention, and I looked at it, and when I stopped, I looked at it and I thought, wow, all I saw was the word kill. That's what drew my attention to it, not kill your speed. So your mind will pick out specific things and it will anchor to it. So if you keep seeing the word cancer, you then pick up subliminally, and what happens is, as Anthony Robbins would say, is the terminology they use, your reticular activator system. Basically, you're always spotting that thing. You're always spotting, no matter where it is, you will spot it. You're activating this. You have to be very careful, because there's so much going on. I mean, what I've heard here today, I've only heard probably 70% I haven't heard before. The truth is, there's so much going on. You have to protect yourself. It all starts with self, the I. Protect yourself, work with yourself, move yourself forward, and those that were interested and want to come, they will come along with you. Right, so, your thoughts, understand what your senses do and what role they play. Now, as they were saying, your gut, you trust your gut, is absolutely right. Everything I learn, I always test. I always pressure test. I always communicate with women, so I use women to teach me. So I say to them, do you remember a time when you were out, you were single, and you saw a guy, and you thought, wow, I've got to go over to that guy. But inside, something was telling you, no. And they go, yes. I said, what did you do? I went over, we had a relationship, but it didn't work. I say, well, how many times it happened? It happens quite a lot. I say, well, how come you're not listening to this? Why aren't you trusting this? Your inner knowing. She goes, I don't know. I don't know why, I just keep doing it. So, when your gut feeling kicks in, you've got to trust it, because it is the inner you. It's letting you know something is happening, something that you cannot see is here. Right, so from here, let me just jump into law of attraction. And I'm sorry for this, I have to cut it short, but let me just jump into law of attraction. Anyone here seen The Secret or read the book The Secret? Yeah? Oh great, that's fantastic. Fantastic starting point, brilliant. All the people in that documentary, because I haven't read the book, I watched the documentary, are great mentors to me. Bob Proctor in particular. So as I'm going through learning and reading, observing, I started coming to conclusions. I'm going, okay, they're giving me all the information, it's fine, I've been applying it, but it's not working. Why isn't it working? Why is it not working the way it's supposed to work, the way they say it's supposed to work? Why is it not working? So about just after Christmas, I did another function. Just after Christmas, I was doing a meditation, and in my meditation, I asked for clarity, I asked for guidance. I said, give me the understanding so I can, first of all, understand it to its truest nature that I can perceive, and then pass it on. And as I was doing this thought just wham, straight in my head, because I was in the process of writing my book. And I was on the stages of what we learnt in the Secret. First one is to ask, that is your job. The second one is the universe is always answering. The third one is align yourself to receive. And it was this that I was dwelling on when this inspired thought just went wham, hit me like lightning. And straight away I realised it's the wrong way around. And why it came to me, and I absolutely firmly believe that it is the wrong way around, is this. First of all is, number two, the universe is answering. You can forget about that. The reason being, I'll give you a quick example. We all know there's a law of gravity. So if I pick something up and let it go, it's going to drop to the floor. And if I have a compass here, we know we've got a law of magnetism, because the needle will move and face north all the time. And then we have a law of attraction. All these three things we cannot see. We can only see evidence of them by something else interacting with it. Now, if I had a compass in my hand and north was here, and I turned like this, so the needle starts moving and I let it go, two laws are going to work at the same time. Gravity is going to pull the compass to the floor, and the needle is going to move facing north. So what does that tell me? It tells me that no law interferes with one another. They're separate, like TV stations. If you're watching BBC One, you're not going to get Channel 5. Whatever one you click is what you're going to get. So the law of attraction works with everything. So I came to the conclusion, and my own conclusion is this: all laws are happening all the time. If I would say to someone, can you point to where gravity is? Here. You'll look at me confused. What do you mean gravity? Gravity is everywhere. Okay then. Can you point to where magnetism is? Well, again, it's everywhere. Okay, so where do you think the law of attraction is? It's everywhere. So there's no specific point, and they all are here, and we are just moving through it. When I move here, I'm moving through it. I'm moving through all of them no matter where I go. So how does this 1, 2, 3 work? Okay, ask, universe is answering. 3, align yourself to receive. Number 2, the universe is answering. I put that to the side. There's nothing I can do with that. That's doing its own job. So now we've got 1 and 3. Ask and receive. Align yourself to receive. So the Bible says, ask and you shall receive. Well, when my father was dying and I was his carer looking after him, I was asking and praying and asking and praying. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened for what I was asking for. It didn't happen. So when I was thinking about that, I was going, hold on a minute. If I'm asking and I'm not receiving, I'm aligning myself to receive, but it's not happening, something is not right. So the conclusion what came to me was that you have to reverse it. So you have to align yourself to receive, then ask. And the reason why is, how many people here have asked for something and didn't get it? Could we say anyone? Not happened. Everyone got everything they wanted. Yeah. So when you ask for something and you don't get it, it's not that the law of attraction's not working. Oh, it's working all right, but you're not in alignment with it. So the conclusion I came to was this, and as I rightly say in the Secret, make yourself feel as good as possible throughout your day, every single day. Do your best. Wherever you are, just try and feel a little better. Do something, look at something, see something, whatever you can do just to make yourself feel a little bit better than what you already are. And you do it again and again and again and again. Because what happens is, which is happening to me lately now, because I've changed the way I viewed it, is I'm not kidding you, things are just coming to me left, right and center. I've been out with friends for meals and they didn't charge me. They said, no, it's on the house. And it's not once, it's happened 4 times on the house. My friends are scratching their head, well, why is he getting a special service? Oh, he's a special guy. And I don't know these people. So, what I did was to reverse it. Make myself feel as good as I can throughout the day, as often as I can, every day. And when you do that, you raise your vibration, as you're rightly saying. Vibration, your energy levels, you have to raise them. It doesn't have to go through the stratosphere. You raise your vibration. And when you raise your vibration, when you automatically focus on something, oh, that'd be nice, I'd like that, then that will come. As long as you keep your focus on that and not counteract it. Now let me go about sabotaging the law of attraction. I'll give you an example. Someone praying to God. Please God, help me, I need £1,000 to buy a new car, otherwise I ain't got transport to get to work because the bus doesn't go from here to there, and the train doesn't go from there, and I won't be able to get to work. I have to use a car, so please God help me get it. What they're saying in that, what's happening in that example is they don't realise, even though they're sincerely asking for it, they don't realise they're sabotaging. They're asking, and I'll explain why. Anyone heard of Neville Goddard? No? Maybe? Okay. He sums it up best. He uses the lines, make your future dream a present fact by assuming the feeling of the wish already fulfilled. Okay? So when we ask from a perspective, help me get, I need, what are we automatically acknowledging? It's not already there. It's absent. Now, as Christopher was on about, the now, we have our past, we have our future, and we have the present moment. And what we realise, if you sit down and think about it, both of these two extremes, your future and your past, have always been and always will be your present moment. You only live in the present moment. Tomorrow is promised to nobody. The Bible tells you don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself, meaning you focus on the now. Eckhart Tolle, he says the same thing in his books. Now is the only thing. They'll all tell you it's only now. You only live now. You don't live 5 minutes ago, and you don't live in 5 minutes from now. It's only now. Nothing is promised to nobody. Just the present moment. You're here. That's it. So, in his statement, make your future dream a present fact by assuming the feeling of the wish already fulfilled. It's in the now. So, if you have to imagine it as if you're already in possession of it. And how we sabotage it is by acknowledging it's not here, by using I need, please help me get, if only I could. When you listen to these words, hear yourself asking, if you acknowledging the asking the absence, you've contradicted what you've wasted your time. Because it will always give you what you're asking for. Bob Proctor, I mean, I've read it a few times, I've heard it a few times. Bob Proctor he also says this, you don't get what you want, but you always get what you are. Now, I was thinking about that. What do you mean you get what you are? You know, I am a human being. Is that what you're on about? You know, I am a man. Is that what you're on about? What they're really on about is this. You don't get what you want. You always get how you feel, how you resonate, what is your vibration. That's what you get. Yeah? So when you're asking, with regards to law of attraction, I can understand, I mean, I've helped out so many people. I can understand when people, including myself, when I asked previously from the perspective of the absence of, following the format that I was taught, I was getting the opposite. I wasn't getting it. I was getting what I was asking for, but not realising I'm asking for the absence of, and I was getting the absence of. It didn't come to me because I was asking for the absence of. But when you ask from the perspective of already received, that's the way you ask. Now, first of all, has anyone got any questions? I know I've had to condense this down. Anyone got any questions, uncertain about anything? Anyone? No? Okay. So So if I was to ask you a question, anyone, you'd be able to tell me what I've just was talking about. Yeah? Okay. Anyone now, can you tell me how are you supposed to ask?
Put yourself in a position to receive.
That's exactly right. But see, this is
If you've already got it, you don't ask for it, just thank you.
yeah. Imagine for a moment now. Everyone here has a want, and a want is a great thing. Everyone has a want. Now imagine for a moment you already had it. How would you feel? You wouldn't be feeling like you were feeling now. Here's another one for you. Everyone here tasted or eaten a lemon? Yeah? Okay. I'd like you for a moment to imagine that there's a lemon, you cut it in half, yeah? Get this lemon, squeeze it and bite into it. Or anything sour. Is everyone doing this? Is anyone's mouth watering? Yeah? Why is your mouth watering if there is no lemon?
Because I've been through that situation physically before.
Bingo. You have, but what it's telling you is that the mind does not differentiate between what is imagined and what is real. Another way of doing it is if anyone's fantasized about anything, it wasn't there, but you had the desired results. Okay? When you understand how the mind works and how important meditation is, but when you understand how the mind works in conjunction with your senses, you are now in control. It requires work, it really does require work, but you're now in control because you will allow what you want to allow in. One of the old books I read, the old books, it says you are the gatekeeper of your mind. It says if you step aside, you're only allowing in what you're allowing in, and it will hurt you if it's not going to benefit you. And the old books I do like the old books. So okay, so the law of attraction, I'll just reiterate before I just quickly move on to something else, states this, and I really hope, just do it, honestly, just do it. Throughout the day, I mean, before I go through the process again, we all know life as it is right now is not a bed of roses. There are always challenges that are cropping up, circumstances cropping up in our lives every day. And the life that we have, we always look and say, it's not good enough, I don't like this. I wish I was this. I wish I was there. I wish I had this. But when you're doing that, when you feel the energy of what you're doing, it's all negative, and you will bring those circumstances back in. You have to feel the energy. That's why women are so receptive to nature, to feelings. They can feel when a guy will say, well, there's nothing to feel, but they can feel it. They're in tune with it. That's why there's one of the old books, I cannot remember the name of it, I've read that many. He said that women are better at this than men, but never gave an explanation. I understood why now. Is because they communicate with the heart. Intuition levels are higher. So here we go. Whenever you go to sleep, as Neville Goddard, he says, best time is when you fall into sleep, visualize what you want as if you're already in possession of it, and go to sleep on that. That's it. Visualize as if you're already in possession of it. That's it. Let it go. Go to sleep. Another way you can test this out is, as you're going to sleep, visualize how you want the day to go the next day. Try that first. Visualize it, how you want that day to go. I want to get up, feel more energetic. I'm going to have a good work day. I'm going to have this. I'm going to have this. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. Just in your normal working day, your normal day, and you'll find it matches. And then once you found out that matches, do it again. This time, change something, and you'll see it will change. Then you start working with how you feel. Make yourself feel better as much as you can throughout the day. I mean, if you're just watching news all day long, every opportunity, just doom and gloom, what do you expect?
Music.
You can use music, you can use videos, you can use whatever you want that makes you feel a little bit better. Don't have to come from depression to a state of bliss, because it's too much of a jump. Just little increments. How are you feeling now? Just look for something to make you feel a little bit better. And then when you're there, just look for something else. Do something just to make yourself feel a little bit better. And use gratitude, be grateful. Now, one of the things I've learnt is through my experiences, and Jack Canfield mentioned this in one of his videos, his interviews. He says when you're being grateful, when you sit down on your own, start going over the things you're grateful for. Because when you're going over gratitude, what you're actually acknowledging is, I've already got this. I am grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my home. I'm grateful for my car. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for my job. I'm grateful for my savings. I'm grateful for this. You're already in possession of your grateful. But as you're going through this repetitive, what you're grateful for, try and move, I know it sounds a bit funny, but try and move the dialogue, the gratitude, I'm grateful, I'm so grateful, thank you, thank you, thank you, from mind, and try and move it to the heart or the solar plexus.
I end up praying when I do that.
Yes. When you move it to the heart area, it should elicit an emotional response. Then you know it's been heard. And how do we know that that's true? It's simple. If words itself had the power, then everyone on the planet should have what they wanted already. And we know that's not the case. It isn't just words. There are three things that work here. Thought, the spoken word thought, the emotion, and the feeling. That is the format. The old Tibetan scriptures, when Greg Braden went over there, he was taught that. There, when he went to the Coptic Christians, they taught him the same thing. The Essenes, the same thing. These are the three things that are so important to us, because when we got internally, we got the main 7 chakras. We've got 3 lower and 3 upper, and then 3 meet at the heart chakra. And why is this heart chakra green? Green, I mean, when you're in space, you see 2 predominant colours. If you're looking at Earth, it's green and blue. They're that colour for a reason. Colours play a vital role. That's why women will dress with different colours, nail varnish, lipstick, outfit. Guys, they tend to wear solid colours all the time, just white and blues. They're all solid colours. Some will have different colours, but anyway, these things help. These things really help. Now I want to just change subject a little bit. I want to talk about, because my experience through the law of attraction is self-development, but there's also a spiritual side. And I want to ask you this question. Yes, we have time. I want to propose a scenario, and I'd just like to hear some feedback from this one. Imagine for a moment your favourite flower, or favourite anything that's living, that's alive. So just for a moment, think of something that's your favourite. Yeah. Now this question is about connectedness. So you imagine this favourite flower or favourite whatever it is. Yeah. Now if this flower, for instance, could see you, hear you and talk back to you, and you used to ask it this question, how are you? What would your flower or thing say back? What would it say to you? Anybody? Yes? There's no wrong or right answers, by the way. What would it say? What would your flower say? What?
Pick me and kill me.
Okay, that's fine. So, I get this all the time. They'll say like, I'm beautiful, yeah, I'm okay, I'm happy, life is good. I get all sorts of these answers. And that's fine. But when you're talking about connectedness, and I know this from actual experience, I was going through my favourite park, Cannon Hill, and they had all the flowers. It was summertime, beautiful flowers, and there was these tulips, and I was walking there, I was thinking of something, a process that I was working on, and the flowers caught my attention, and I'm looking, and I stopped thinking about them. I focused on this one particular tulip. It was yellow, it had red and orange, very vibrant. And I'm looking, and I could not break gaze with this flower. I was just standing there, and I was just observing. I couldn't hear anything going on around me, and I was observing this flower. And after a few moments, the surge of energy came up, and it brought tears to my eyes. Now, if I was to describe what that was in words, it would say this. I would ask the flower, how are you? And the flower would look at me and say, this is me in all my splendour and glory. The physical manifestation of the unseen spirit that moves in and through me, just like you. That's the connection. When you can connect at this level, you know what it is to connect. When people say, "Oh, I'm fine," you know there's a disconnection. Obviously, I've been signalled a few minutes left, and I would have loved to go into the stuff that I do work with, but on another date. So that's all I have. But if anyone's got any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions and go over anything that I've said if you're unsure. Because I tell you now, I've had friends that I've mentored that worked as a manager in a supermarket. He is now in movies. He has no experience in movies, acting, choreography. But what I've shown him, what I've taught him, he's used, and he's now going to different countries. He's loving his life. I've had people that have financial situations. A friend of mine, money was a massive issue. I told him a few things. This is, follow this process. Work it yourself. You have to work it because everyone's different. You have to work it yourself. So that's why I say words and try and feel the energy of the word, because that will tell you, you will feel it if it's negative, and you'll feel it if it's uplifting. And if it's negative, replace it. Replace it with one that feels better. Because if you don't, it will always keep you trapped.
Is it better to do this kind of stuff if I was to go and practice all this and took a couple of weeks doing it and enjoying it? Is it better to do it in private? Because I'm asking that because what happens, right? And I've done this before, I've got really down on an emotional level with stuff, and I've really expressed myself. Mm-hmm. And the people that have caught me doing it have been narcissists.
Yes. See,
what happens? What do I do then? Your work is your work, my work is my work.
Don't share it with anyone else until you're strong enough. Until you're strong enough. It's like, for instance, I always test things, and I get friends that are aware of the law of attraction and aware of the things that I'm looking into, and I study, and I'll propose something, and I'll say, find a flaw in it for me. Find where it's gone wrong. And every one of them say, we cannot find anything. So I say, okay, I'll take that as validation. I know inside it's right, because I'm an expert at reverse engineering things. I look at something, I'll reverse engineer it. That's it. I've got the signal wound up now. So if anyone wants to talk about anything, I'll be glad just to have a chat with you and clarify any things. But truly, I'd love to just take my time and gone through processes. But unfortunately, time doesn't permit that. Anyway, thank you, Jane.